down, coming out of PE town. One drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.
Gino's shot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, get to Gino's spot.
Gino's spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Center Stage.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Gino's Spot. Alan, we're with Alan tonight, Alan Glover, and we're going to be having a chat soon. But
welcome everybody.
Hello, and we obviously every Tuesday we are here every single Tuesday at 6:30 without fail. It's just relentlessly here at 6:30, and we also thank you to our sponsors, Fitch and Leeds. And Amobia, our internet sponsor as well, have been fantastic. They've been with us from the start, and we are excited also to very soon we'll be announcing one of our headline sponsors coming in as well. We've got quite an exciting partner coming on board for Gino Spot, making it happen. Check, we're making it happen. Yeah, I was telling you.
So you said without fail. Have you never failed?
I've never failed.
Never failed at school.
Never failed.
Well, you're not in good company.
And thank you to Fat Cats. Here we go. Look at that. Look at
wow.
Our lovely little food. There's not much left. I've been feasting on it until now. Thank you to Fat Cats, to Grace and her team. Make fantastic food. I got to know Grace whilst you were doing many gigs together.
It looks delicious.
It's lovely. It's lovely. You can have a go at it a little bit later if you want to. And so we've got Alan Glover. I'm already talking to him here, but we need to do a little bit of an intro for you, Alan.
Okay.
On Gino's Spot, Alan Glover. Let's do this thing here. Let's get the video going. We need to have an intro for you. Let's do it.
Ooh, welcome to the show. Now it's your time to shine. We're gonna have a like a chat tonight. Another good time.
And we're in and ready to go. How about that?
Very
You get your very own intro.
Yeah.
We're
Light
so
up
professional.
our fires.
So professional here. Obviously, if you're online, YouTube is the best place to watch. So and there you can make comments on Facebook or on YouTube. Pop in the comments and ask Alan a question. We can ask you anything. Yeah.
Well,
If this, anybody wants to ask you something about yourself online, let's have a look. Let's check what's happening.
As long as it's not an exam question.
No exam questions,
No exam
please.
questions.
Alan doesn't like exam questions too much. There we go. Charles Swart saying, "Lekker my big
Show
pal."
my buddy. Wow.
Who's Charles Swart?
My golf partner. What a man.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Were you
we-
playing with golf? When I phoned you the other day, you were playing golf.
Yeah, and we played first league golf as partners for quite a few years
Where you remember?
at the P golf course.
At the hill.
Yeah.
The hill.
Yeah.
The hill.
I think he always overrates me. He always tells everybody about this old toppie and all the youngsters, and the youngsters think they're going to sort this old toppie out, and then next minute they lose the method.
They're crying.
So it's quite a character. Lovely guy.
And Dion Gibert as well. I see there as well.
Oh, yeah,
So
Dion.
how's Dion?
Yeah, I know
Nice to
Dion.
see you too.
Yeah.
We've got there's actually a thing with them that lets the comments come up here. We've got a new fandangled thing. I don't even know if it works. I think as they come up, maybe it must be. We'll test it out and see if it works. If anybody else comments, so make some more comments because we want to test our new fandangled comment thing.
Yeah.
But Al, fantastic to have you on the show.
No, thanks for inviting me.
You know, I've had you on my mind for a while now, and then we spotted you at a function in East London.
At a conference for teachers. Yeah.
There was a teachers' conference where
Special, eh?
my dear wife was speaking.
Yeah.
And they roped me in to sing a song or something, and then you and Peter Manser were doing something, which was fantastic.
You and Peter both sang a song, so I eventually had to also come up on. I was the last guy, and I had to sing two songs that I hadn't sung for 40 years about Johnny, I Speak to Flower. I want to sing it now, though.
No, it was great. East London, all the teachers were out there.
They loved it. Incredible feedback.
It was great.
They said the teachers said it was amazing.
Yeah. Teachers are another breed. There we go. Look at that. It's coming in there. Mark Banks, I see. saying comment. She's put the comment up. Thank you, Mark. And what time does Spa close? Well, Spa I think is closed. No, it's not closed. It depends if it's a quick Spa or a super spa, Mark?
You know, I'm hoping this interview is not too long because on a Tuesday and a Thursday, as a pensioner, I get a free cappuccino.
Oh, really?
But I first got to buy my 10 Rand biscuits.
You're going to miss it, I'm
then I
afraid.
get a free cappuccino. So biscuits and cappuccino for $10. Say, what a deal.
You're going to miss it, I'm afraid.
Am I going to miss it? I thought this was just a 10-minute thing.
Not a chance. We're in.
Okay. I'm in it for the long run, eh?
Oh, my soul.
It's like the Iron Man.
Yeah. Hey, that's it. Have you done Iron Man?
Well, I played squash I played racquetball just now. So Iron Man, I'm past that. Yeah.
You're not doing no more.
No, I've never done. My brother did it. And,
Oh, is it?
as you call it,
Which brother?
Michael, my younger
Michael.
brother, but I think he finished at about 10 o'clock and then burst into tears because he hadn't really prepared himself as well as he should. And he said, Alan, it was emotional when he got over the finishing line.
Oh, my word.
So I think he only did it once. He's never done it again.
Okay. And so let's just, I think, obviously your thing is, what you're doing at the moment is like a motivational kind of inspirational talks and things like that, like I saw you at the conference, and certainly a different kind of thing that you do, you've got a certain energy about you, which I love, and also it's you like to get involved and get the people interacting quite a lot.
Yeah, very much so. It's quite interesting. People's perception is that I'm this motivational speaker, and that's probably 5% of my job.
Yeah.
So I think I told you a story once when, most of my time is spent working with teams and facilitating 2-day team workshops, seeing how we can help the team, what are the motivators, demotivators, strengths, weaknesses. And then a lot of time I've spent running different programs, and then conference talks, a very small part of my job.
Oh, okay.
But I remember the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants asked me to come speak at their conference, and I did share the story, but I can share it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I said to them, I'm sorry, I don't do motivational talks. I don't like this one-way stuff, and it's all this raw stuff, so I'm not into that. And they said, but we'll pay you. I said, no, it's not about the money. I said, I don't like these short talks because I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
So they were so insistent, eventually said, I'll come, but I'm going to do it my way. You can do whatever you want to do. So my Jessica was 15 years old, my daughter.
Yes.
So we grabbed a beautiful white cloth, a bunch of flowers. I gave her a thermometer that was now a potential thermometer. She got a Father's Day card. So before these 100 graduates who had just finished varsity, they just graduated.
Yeah.
I lay on the table before they came, and Jessica put a white cloth on top of me. And then she put the flowers on top of me. And when the people arrived, she said, I'm so sorry, there was a terrible accident on the way here. So my father will no longer be speaking at the conference, but maybe there's a possibility we can bring him back to life. Because he always said that he didn't want to die before he'd lived out at least maybe 85% of his potential.
Yes.
So we had John Travolta on the old television there, staying alive. And then Jessica's very good up front. She doesn't like peanut, but she was a real sport. So she came up to the cloth, lifted up the cloth, shoved the thermometer under my tongue and said, no, this is not good news. My dad's only lived out 70% of his potential. We have to bring him back to life.
Yeah.
So she got 100 people to stand, and they all started to clap. And they started to shout and clap, and then I started to move under the sheet. And then my one leg came out, and then my other leg came out. By this time, Jessica had read the Father's Day card. Oh, but you're going to miss her dad. And so eventually, my one leg was out. Then they were going berserk, these 100 people. And eventually, I threw the cloth or jumped up, and they saw me for the first time.
Oh, my word.
And then I just said, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to live out that 15% that I haven't. I don't want to waste my life. So that was the first conference I ever did.
I can't say that I've ever thought of bringing myself into a gig with a shroud and pretended to be dead. It's not a bad plan.
So you spoke at Pine Lodge one day. I think it was the ball bearing, the SKF ball bearing, and I did a shortened version of that there, and then you came on a bit later and spoke. So I think the thing was, I'm just trying to say, we never know when our lives are going to end.
I know, that's crazy.
Don't waste your life. Don't waste your potential.
I remember I've actually got to tell a story about the SKF because I was at the time. I had a brokerage that I was running medical aids, and they were on my medical aid, and so I serviced them, their medical aid guy, and so the management, they realized that I was also a comedian, musician, and they got me in to do their function. But I knew all these guys because I'd spoken to them before on medical aid, and then their faces to see, "Is jy ou van die medies, man? My chronicle is op." Chronicle.
That's lovely.
what's
So they all recognized you.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
well
they're
played.
lovely. And I think, the Glovers, I was just thinking as you were talking, the Glovers are very outgoing. All of the Glovers that I know, Hugh, Alison, Jess, yourself. I don't know Michael that well, but
Also outgoing.
outgoing kind of people. Were your folks this sort of that kind of thing? You know,
Yeah,
outgoing?
look, my dad was, he was in the Second World War, and I mean, he flew a fighter bomber and had to lie in the aeroplane at 21 years
RAF.
old. Yeah, he used to fly. I think it was the Marauders. They flew Marauders. Wow. And quite an amazing story. Twice he was taken off the aeroplane and put onto another aeroplane, and that plane was shot down. All his friends were killed. So you see, the Afrikaanse mense get a net gemaak.
Yes, so yeah.
Because if my father was not moved off that aeroplane, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So my father was, he was the MD of Armor Plate Safety Glass for 20 years. So he was quite businesslike, quite serious.
That's not shatterproof. It's a different one.
No, it is now shatterproof.
Oh, is it now shatter?
It used to be Armor Plate. My mom, a nursing sister, warm, friendly, kind, just an angel straight from heaven.
Wasn't that the job for? I mean, my mom-in-law was also a nurse.
In those days, yeah.
You're either a nurse or a teacher if you're a woman.
Exactly.
Now, there's no limits. It's great.
Now, it's interesting. My mom worked in the bank. She always wanted to become a teacher, but there was no money for her to go and study.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure, but she's 94. I was with her just now. Actually, my mom's
Wow.
94. Yeah. So my mom is a very warm, friendly, kind person, but I think most of us are pretty outgoing.
Yeah.
But as a youngster, I was quite shy. And if I was at a rugby match, I'd never walk in front of all the people.
Nice.
I'd walk around the back of the stands and nobody. I was quite self-conscious, but I suppose you just grow up and.
Oh my word! I was about to he smoked the world ladies squash champ. Did you? Did you have a physical fight with the?
Yeah, we sat in the corner and we
smoked them, mate.
I didn't play squash at Kingswood. I did a lot of swimming and rugby and athletics. But when I finished matric, I started squash quite seriously.
Okay.
And then in my first year of squash, I managed to sneak into the EP under 19 side. They played a British touring side. And then 2 years later, these women were touring, Australian women. They were touring the world, and the Australian number one happened to be the world number one.
Wow. Okay.
And I was put up against her.
What was her name?
Vicky Cardwell.
Vicky Cardwell. Go on, and you've got to find a picture of her. Vicky
Yeah,
Cardwell.
the Vicky Cardwell. So
Squash champ.
no, she was quite short, and I'm quite tall. But anyway, I won't repeat the language that you used on the court, because I was always written up in the paper as the drop and the lob expert. So nobody taught me, but I'd play like touch squash, and she was quite short, so she was. I think she got a stiff neck eventually.
Much taller than her.
And she used a couple of F words. She said, I'm not playing effing squash. This is not squash. Hit the damn ball,
Oh, dear.
Don't powder. And then I hit a few really hard, so she could see I could hit it hard.
Okay.
Anyway, I won 3-1, and she didn't shake my hand, and she didn't have a drink with me afterwards, and she didn't take me out to a restaurant.
Oh, well, let's have a look. Oh, is she there? Gary, I don't know. Can't get them in
That
there.
was Charles asking. I don't know. I must have told Charles that story some minutes ago.
There. Oh, that was. Where's it? There she is.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, that's a Vicky Cardwell. Yeah. Her daughter now plays professional squash.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome, man. Oh, that's a nice
So that
memory,
was,
though.
yeah, just quite. I mean, I must be honest. I mean, I think nowadays, if you had to play, some of the top women in the world,
Yeah,
like, even if I was still 25, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's next level now.
It becomes a science. Everything has become a science, but now the squash, it runs in the family as well, because I know Hugh's a good squash player.
Michael was the skateboard, motorbike man.
Okay.
As he would admit, hooligan. There's a lovely story that Michael was on the veranda at the beach hotel, and some guy came past and just popped a wheelie for about 20 meters. So the guy said, "Yo!" So Michael said, "I can do that for 2 kilometers." No, they all put the money on the table. All
really?
the bets are on the table, and he rushes outside, jumps on his 500 Honda, and off he goes. He's on his back wheel.
XR 500.
Next minute, whoa.
Oh, no.
Here comes a traffic cop on his big motorbike. So Michael hops across that lawn there and gets down onto the beach near Miller's there, and now this cop is getting stuck in the sand, and the guys are they're all cheering
Running
there.
away.
So Michael he's definitely the adventurer.
Okay.
I was so excited. I got a new motorbike, a Honda 404 Super Sport, a yellow one.
Oh, wow.
But I knew Michael would take it without asking.
404 is like the bomber, isn't it?
No, it wasn't a big bike,
Yeah,
but so
okay.
I would always check the mileage every day.
The 400. I remember the little 400.
And then about a week later, a guy said to me, "Yo, but that's a beautiful motorbike that you've got. Your brother came to visit us on that motorbike, and he was up and down the verge." I said, "That's impossible. I checked the mileage. There's no ways he could have taken my motorbike." And he would unscrew the mileometer, so he was taking my motorbike. So
He knew.
he knew.
I see there's quite a few comments here. Let's have a quick look. Maybe you can. Dion Jabir says, "How's it, man? How's it, Dion? Nice to see you, man."
Ah, Dion.
And no, we answered that one, Gary. We know the spark closes. I saw Alan on the course. Yeah, it's your golf mate there. Let's have a look here. Are you playing too much golf? He says there.
Yeah, look, when you can't find work, you must just play golf.
Yeah, no.
I do play golf 3 times a week.
Nico was? Alan the Legend, my old
Goodness me, wow,
t-shirt.
1987, Nico. Hi.
He was, eh?
Luca,
Luca Gallerini.
Yeah, I know he had dark hair, good-looking youngster.
Do pigs have hamstrings? Well, we don't know. Mark. Why do butterflies get their tummies when they are nervous? Well, that's a difficult question. It would be butterflies in and out. Very interesting people on the show. Thank you, Brian. Brian's a legend as well.
Brian.
So, yeah. And then, sure, Alan's a legend. Very good squash player. Taught me a couple.
Oh, Charles Benadell, goodness me.
There we
Yeah.
Do you know this? Is that a
Nikki, very talented.
Nikki, her, of course.
Very talented.
Dave's
I used
sister.
to be the official old grey squash coach. And when I got married, we only had a double bed, but that's all that mattered.
Okay.
But we didn't have a table, and then
Nothing.
Old Grey bought me a TV. I've never seen such. It was about the size of this thing at the back.
Jeez, like,
But
okay.
it was an old Fuchsway Futronic.
Oh, I
So
know.
because I was the old grey squash
the big-
coach, they bought me this TV, and we thought we'd arrived. They're black and white.
Big.
Black and white.
Big TV. I know. There's blooming boxes.
Yeah, it was a real box, but we were so excited because we had a tiny TV, one of those little ones that you can pick up. So this was like just next level, next level.
Fancy glove box, you biscuit. Robert, he says, "Oh, that's Rob."
Rob, that's funny.
Life-saving.
At golf, when I played league golf, on my cap they put glove box.
Oh, is it?
So I don't know
Oh,
where
glove box.
this glove box came from. Yeah.
What's this glove box story? Reed Harris says,
That's my grandson.
Grandpa. So you got
We big
grandchildren.
on the 1300 yummy together. He sits in the front and just gives it. He works and break everything.
What kind of bike is it?
FJR 1300 Yamaha.
Is that like a
It's
adventure
a cruiser with the panniers at the back and all that.
Okay.
So he
nice.
loves, but he's getting a bit big now to sit in the front. So maybe I've got to put him on the back or in the dog box maybe.
Alan took one step to the front and one to the back of the court. That's absolutely.
You know what happened? We went to Kimberley and we stayed at the Halfway House Hotel. And there were some naughty guys there. I had some naughty guys there. I won't even repeat some of the stories, but I played in the final against a chap called Mark Bester, and I think he got to number 12 in South Africa.
Wow.
And it was a hot day, and I snuck home. I think I won like 11-9 in the fifth, and there was a Free State woman walked over. She said, "Well played, my boy, but why do you bother to play squash?" I said, "I don't understand." She says, "Because you don't even run, you just stick out your leg." And I was exhausted, but I think that's why at 69 I can still be competitive because I never really ran. I sort of, I reached more young.
Yeah, so just to step around. Alec Riddle, a wonderful man. Mike Glover, that's
My brother
your
Mike.
guy,
Alec and I had a cappuccino on the beachfront, or I think just after COVID, and we were at varsity together.
It's a legend.
Legend,
Alec Riddle. And
he was in church on Sunday morning with his mom. He's very good. He brings his mom to church, Newton Park Methodist, every Sunday, and I see him there.
It's Mike very quiet. No, I don't think so. And Peter Crossman.
Peter. Wow, yo.
Nice to see you, Peter
So
Crossman.
Peter and I were in the same squash team. So one year we won the Super League and we won we won all the leagues and we've got all the cups there. So
All the squash acts going to paddle now, or padel. Is it
yeah,
padel
well,
now?
they say paddle.
Yeah, but it's apparently a Spanish
But now
story.
squash 57 is quite big. So last night there are 10 teams and there are 10 players per team, and I still play number one, so I've got to play 25-year-olds.
Jeez,
But because it's a bigger ball, it's called
Yeah,
squash
oh, yeah.
57. I've got
Oh, I
more time
see.
to get to the ball.
So it's like almost
So
racquetball.
I don't make a fool of myself. It's squash with the bouncier ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one hits a driver off the deck like Alan says.
Who's
Tim
that? Oh,
Mason.
Tim
How's it,
Mason,
Tim?
yeah.
Nice to see you as well. I know Timmy does the pools and stuff. Ray Zeroth.
No, Ray as well. I often see him there. Yeah, he plays with O'Neill Webster and the boys.
Lovely, lovely. Nice to see you there. Ray's off and on. And where I am tonight because the wheel spin set me up with you Spooky.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Gary Jorgensen.
Gary's a great friend of mine. Yeah, a great, very talented. He was a SA Schools hockey player.
Oh,
And
well
the trouble
done,
now
Gary.
is he's found a little something in his swing, but he won't tell me what it is. But he's like 30 meters past me every
Oh,
time.
for the
now.
driver,
So
eh?
I'm not playing with him anymore. I've told him I'm not going to play with him anymore.
He was checking for Godbo's longest drive before bragging, 12th hole, that big. He's just saying now.
No, you know what happened? What happened was, this was about 4 years ago. So we both drove, and then he thought he made an assumption. And Gary, it's dangerous to make assumptions. He thought his ball was the further one. You see. So I stood on purpose next to his ball. You see, he says, "Are you not going to play your ball?" So I said, "No, I'm waiting for you to play first." He said, "But I'm over there." He said, No, this is your ball over here." And I was 15 meters. Well, we could not stop laughing.
Obviously, never lived it down.
No, it was so funny. But nowadays, he's hitting the ball very, very well. Yeah.
Juanita Tucker, I see there as well. How's it, Juanita?
Wings are a precious person. Yeah.
Where is Juanita now? Is that your
Yeah, I went to visit her and Luke a little while back. She's just living down there overlooking
Is your
the
niece?
sea. No, so Winks Winks
Winks.
spoiled my wife mainly to take on these overseas tours. They went to Finland and Scotland, but they left me behind. Can you believe that?
yeah. That's the
So
way
yeah,
it goes
so
sometimes.
Winks also Springbok, judo, brilliant. No, karate, karate.
So
But
sort
she's
you
only
out, eh?
2 bricks and a tiki high. But
Yeah,
I
but she can-
wouldn't sook with her. eh?
Yeah, she can throw
don't,
you.
Don't sook
She
with
can
her.
throw you around.
You gooi met 'n klop.
Oh, I'll say.
No,
Well,
Winks-
let's go back to the beginning here. Where were we born and bred PE? All the Glovers or not?
Yeah, it was. It's funny, I lived in 6 Gerald Street, Newton Park, opposite the P Technical High School, and if I could almost hit a wedge onto the house where I was actually born, I was born.
Okay.
So you're P born and bred, and then my father went to New Zealand for 6 months. He ran a glass factory there, and when he came back, he saw my brother Michael for the first time when he was 3 months old.
Oh, so he had to leave you here.
So he left us all here.
Wow.
He went to New Zealand for 6 months, and then he bought a plot of land there in New Zealand. And then he came back after 6 months there and saw Michael for the first time when he was 3 months old. And said, "Guys, we're going to New Zealand." I would have been an All Black.
Imagine. Oh, my word. Did he then get offered the job at...
No, then what happened? The phone rang, and then his boss in Joburg said, "Roy, an opening is happened to be Shatterproof is now to down the Utrecht Road. There's an opening there."
Is it Struendale?
Yeah, Struendale.
Struendale.
So then he said to his boss, "What must I now do? Because we've made all of these arrangements, to go to."
Got this land.
So I think because his mother and father were living in Summerstrand, opposite Miller's where the guys surf. He thought no. So we ended up staying here, but we nearly ended up in New Zealand. Yeah.
Wow, that was a close one.
And then I spent 4 years at Kingswood in Grahamstown. They were hoping I would pass there, but I never passed. I think I got my colours for rugby, tennis, swimming, but I think I only passed 2 subjects in matric.
So you clearly sport, your academics you weren't interested in it.
No, I was, but my sport would always say his handwriting is immaculate. I do calligraphy.
Okay.
His sporting achievements are, but he is nowhere in the classroom.
Is it ADD? I mean, is it?
No, I was never ADD. I was just a plodder. I just struggled. I think that one of the reasons I left Grey was because, Hugh also was very good at sport, he's a musician, very bright as well. So I kind of lived in his shadow.
Yeah.
The maths teacher one day looked at me and I taught Hugh, and Hugh was 2 years ahead of me. He said, I don't know if he said, "Glover, why are you so stupid compared to your brother?"
Oh, man.
But he
For
never
a
really
child,
taught us.
that's
So I think my
terrible
self-esteem took a bit of a knock.
Yeah.
And then off I went to Kingswood, and the first gala, I knew I was a reasonable swimmer. I didn't know. So I dived into the pool in standard 7, and as I touched the wall, the coach came up and said, "You've just run my colours time." I said, "What is that?" "No, colours, colours." So in standard 7, I got my colours to swim, but I wasn't allowed to wear them until the following year. So that was very good for my self-esteem. And
kids need that, I think. You need to have that something that you can that you can excel at, or something that you can get that recognition or something. I think it's important.
There's a grandfather that says, it was 100. People respond so well to encouragement, yet people keep criticizing people, hoping that they will get better.
I know.
So I think that I wrote a book called The 5E Factor during lockdown: empowerment, enlightenment, encouragement, engagement, and enjoyment. So it's on my site. So I'm convinced that if I see a guy struggling on the golf course, I can't help myself. I've got to I just want to encourage him and say, don't give up.
Okay.
So I think I was really put on planet Earth to just encourage people and to empower them and to just equip them with. It's not easy out there.
Because I mean, Philip is obviously at Elson Academy, and they deal with kids with learning problems, ADD. It's not that they're not bright. It's just that they learn in a different way. They do things in a different way. And obviously, you like that. Do you think you could have found, if you'd found the way, your way back then with maybe better teaching, better teachers? In those days, it was just like it was one thing fits all. One size fits all.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed Philippa's talk about people have different learning styles. But the crazy thing was, I had to repeat matric at the Hill College, which was down the bottom of Albany Road, near the old fire station.
Yes.
But now Rodney Pettit runs it. It's in Cape Road now.
Yes.
So I had to do matric over, and then I was going to the army in July. So my father said, "You're not going to lie in bed for 6 months. Go get a job."
Okay.
So he took me for an interview at Barclays Bank. And then they said, but we sense that you're not sure if banking is your long-term career. You really sound like you want to become a teacher. So I said, I do. I'm sorry, we can't offer you a job then. So then I went to Standard Bank that same morning, and I got an interview there, and I was offered a job by them. Okay. And that afternoon, I played in a Barclays Bank-sponsored golf day, and guess who won? So I won. The next day I get a phone call, "No, we've got a job for you at Barclays Bank." Only because I won the golf, you see. I mean, those days, bank and golf was, that was quite a big thing.
But the sport then is clearly that like you've got a knack for it. And I mean, your brothers as well, also, in a way, but you've clearly got a big talent there.
I think we all gifted differently, some people are blessed. There's a thing called multiple intelligences. I actually write about it in my Winning Hearts and Minds book. So there are 10 areas where you can be strong. It's music, like yourself, drama, mathematical, linguistic, psychological, nature. So I think there's different ways that people are gifted. But I've always had people always say to me, but your touch and your control, and I've always had good hand-eye coordination.
Yes, absolutely. That's something that you're born with.
Is it nature or nurture? Or you are what you are? Because just by the way, I first met him when he was 10 years old at a mini camp, and I was the youth leader. And he was with Mark Wiseman, and they were we called the Saints. We were called the Saints. So I was 25, he was 10 years old, and at night time we used to do these skits about the echo farm. Hello, and he was hiding behind the rock, and he was very funny. So I never dreamt that. How many years later? Like 40 years later.
I tell you what,
we'd be sitting here talking about what happened there in 1981.
It was at Samke.
Perseverance.
Those camps. I don't know if any of you guys have been ever went to those camps, but they were great fun. It was the Methodists, I think. I was Catholic,
it was part of Scripture Union. It was part of Scripture Union, so it was open to any denomination. Yeah,
I was Catholic, so I was screwing.
Is that why you went around with all the smoke like that?
I saw you like that all the time. Clink, 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 clink. But no, funny enough that one of my the first times I ever went on the stage or in front of anybody was doing that those skits that we used to do.
In that hall there, I can still remember the hall.
Standard 3 or standard 2 or 3.
You were 10,
10 years old, 9, 10 years old, and absolutely, I remember making that one chap laugh. And I was like, I was quite surprised myself that this was laughing at the rubbish.
You've made millions
that I was talking.
You've made millions of people laugh. It's quite funny, I mean, for 30 years I've been a consultant, and I've spent about 30,000 hours standing in front of people facilitating, and a lot of people say to me, "Did you ever think of going to Hollywood to become an actor?" So I said, "No, I didn't really." I said, "But you're quite funny,
Yeah.
Even as a little boy, my family bought me pink socks, and I used to do the Pink Panther, dum, dum, and then I used to take knickknacks and then eat them.
That's a Glover thing. That kind of thing is a Glover. I mean, I look at Alison as well, your niece, and she was such a nutcase. And I just love her because she's always, you never know what you're going to get. You know,
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
always a surprise coming with Ali. With Ali.
You're right.
But I see that with all the Glovers, you know, and of course then you married Debbie as well, which is also a musician. So this whole thing is like,
Yeah.
you know, like attracts like with that.
Yes.
And your wife, I mean,
No, Mandy's very,
Mandy.
very creative, very artistic. Jessica and Kirsty, my two daughters, also very creative.
Okay.
Kirsty's, they all love her at Alex. She's a brilliant teacher, teaches business.
Okay.
Jessica helps her hubby run high-tech batteries, helps me with all the design work and the layout. And if I'm preparing to go to Zambia or Madagascar, which is now dried up,
Yes.
unfortunately, for the last
Yeah.
14 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think in our side of the family, people all expect my daughters and my wife to be very good golfers and squash players, and that's not their scene.
not necessarily.
You know, they go to
Okay.
Kenton, they enjoy the, you know, the
Outdoors.
sea, more the outdoors. So
Outdoors.
I'm definitely the ball. If I don't
Yeah.
hit a ball, I have withdrawal symptoms, you know.
So you worked at Barclays, and then did you go then army
I
after 6
ended up at
months?
the Standard Bank because Barclays couldn't give me a job.
Oh,
But
and
when
then
I
they
won the
found-
golf tournament, they wanted to, but I
wanted-
said, no, I'm sorry, I've already accepted the job.
You could have
at
got a
Standard
bigger
Bank."
salary. You missed out on it.
No, it was 275 rand a month. I was wealthy, eh?
Whoa,
No, I tell you, I was never short of money.
200. So what year was that now?
76.
76.
1976,
Just before I was in Sabay. I wasn't even in Sabay yet.
I was in the waste department.
No. Oh, and the waste.
Oh, so you had to sit there and all the deposits and all the checks come in. Then I stood at a wall and I had to put all the deposit slips. There was a tray there and I had to put it into the different trays, all the checks from the different branches. And then I was onto this aiding machine. After I put the paper in and then the two sides had to balance.
Oh, my
So I thought to
soul.
myself, no, I was not born to do this job. So I think I went to the army for a year, went back to the bank, and then I always wanted to become a teacher, but I was petrified to go and study because of my academic track record.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting, you know. One must never give up in life because. So when I decided to become a teacher, I filled in all the forms, and then I went to the varsity and I handed them in. And then I think about 2 weeks later, I got a rejection letter. I'm sorry, but we can't accept you. You're not university material. You know, you got 5 E's and a C second time round at university. So I was quite hurt. But anyway, Dr. Jardine used to be my headmaster when I was in junior school.
Yeah.
And I knew where he lived. And he was now at the varsity. He was Dr. Jardine. So I found his house in Milk Park.
Yeah.
I knocked on the door and he came to the door and he hadn't seen me for 10 years. At 13, I'm now 23.
Wow.
He said, Alan Glover. He recognized me.
Always.
Invited me and gave me a cup of tea and he said, how can I help you? I said, I want to become a teacher, but they say I won't pass.
Yeah.
He said, you'll be an excellent teacher. You just leave it to me. And he got me in.
Wow.
He got me into the varsity at
But
23
if you
years
hadn't
old.
have done that, I mean, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you at least had the goal, the audacity to go and find a way, and then you knew that you were at the varsity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like almost like a bravery that you've got to have sometimes. If you accept that it's possible that you can fail, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If he'd said to you, no, bugger off, you know, would you have given up? I don't think so. I think you would have given
Well,
another
I
go.
think also, you know, I don't want to let people down. So people have come to bat for me.
Yeah.
And they've had faith in me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't have much of a life. Even my wife, Mandy, who I married, was my girlfriend. Friday nights, they were out enjoying themselves and I was sitting studying.
Okay.
I thought I cannot fail there.
Yeah, for the teaching, and then so you got your so this is after army now.
After army, then so then I went back to the bank and I was with a firm of insurance brokers for 3 months, but that wasn't my scene. I had to phone 50 people every Friday, and I'm quite a sensitive, gentle guy, and people would be rude to you on the phone. Even today, when I've got to market and sell my company, I get very nervous.
Yes.
Yeah, so then I went to UPE for 4 years, and then I was offered 3 jobs actually. I was offered Grey and then 2 other schools, and I took the job at Grey. So I taught.
Fantastic.
I taught 9-year-olds for
Well,
6
there's
years.
one of your guys online there as well.
Yeah.
And I see some more comments coming through there. Actually, if you want to see if Gary can stick them on the thing there. Big Al asked me to remove my 50 cents in the squash back quarters when he coached me because he lobbed the ball.
Okay, also a very talented squash player. Lovely times there, yeah.
Oh, lovely, man, sure. And Charles, Alan and Gary have swings that only we can dream of.
But that's not really true, you know, because the other day I teed up On Friday, they were setting up for a golf day.
Yeah.
And we got to the 15th hole, and there was a couple of guys setting up this tent. And then as I finished hitting my shot, the one guy said, "Yes, but you got a weird swing." You've got a weird swing, and the ball flew beautifully. So I said, "Well, you don't hit the ball with your backswing, you know." So with my backswing, I go via Porf, Udder, Potensie, and Pretoria.
really?
So I kind of do something. I don't know what I
You
do.
go round and then.
I got hit by a motor car and broke both my legs. 2008, I was going to a meeting at Teneco on the Utenhage Road.
Oh, no.
And I was on my motorbike to go and meet with
on the
Glenn
bike.
Klopper.
Yeah.
And a car went through a red robot, smashed the front of my motorbike. I got thrown into there, hit the Utenhage Road and broke both my legs. So about 2 months later now, I was watching golf on TV. I was watching these guys, you know, the guys that are disabled.
Yeah.
And I saw the guy playing with one arm.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, "I'm going to the spa." I lied to her.
Yeah.
I went to the Lawn Park Fields and I took my crutch. I had a big boot on this leg and I dropped a couple of balls and I stood on this left leg and this
Golfing.
boot was up and I balanced on my crutch and I took a swing and I missed the ball completely. But about 2 hours later, I was getting a 6 iron up in the air.
Yeah.
So when I got home, my wife said, "Which spa did you go to?
Yeah.
You've been hitting golf balls, eh?" And she was right.
knew.
And then I went to Barry Home. I said, "Barry, are you allowed to play on one leg and one arm?" You know, so he said, "Well, just do a demonstration for me." So I stood there and I showed him. He said, "Well, good luck, eh?" And so the first time I teed up, my friend Brett Williams said, "If you drive past me with one leg and one arm, I'm going straight home, eh?" So he got it a little bit past me. But the funny thing was the week before I was hit, I had a 69 gross on the Wednesday, which is, you know, to break 70, you have to have, and then I had a 69 on the Saturday. So in the same week, I had two 69s. So I then play on one leg and one arm and I shoot 109. So I entered that and the computer gave me the finger.
Oh, really?
You can't go from 69
No, doesn't
to
work.
109.
Doesn't work.
And I still remember my last game on one leg and one arm. I shot 45. I shot a 90. Just hitting with just this arm only. Yeah.
Okay. Jeez. Like,
So yeah, I suppose you must never give up. And I always tell people, you know, do you look at the obstacles or do you look at the opportunities?
yeah.
And there are many obstacles in this country, especially for a guy like me, 30 years on the 1st of May, running my own consulting business.
Yeah.
Work is very, very scarce.
Yeah.
I think in tough times, all the soft skills get pushed to one side.
Yeah, of course. Of course they do.
But
yeah.
anyway, with God guides, He provides. And I get looked after.
Yeah, and but your tenacity, that's clearly your thing. It's like you just don't give up.
Well, it's interesting. I can see my Winning Hearts and Minds book line, and then there's 70 pages there on your mind, your emotions, your attitude, and harde tye, adversity.
Yes.
So, thank you.
There you go. Here
Yeah,
you go.
so-
There's the book.
so-
Just hold it up here. Winning Hearts and Minds.
So
There you go.
the crazy thing about this was that, you know, I never dreamt I'd write a book, but people kept saying to me, "Ellen, you know, you've got so much stuff here. Why don't you write a book?" I said, "Because I can't type." You know, I'd never typed in my life.
Really?
In 2015, I'd never typed, but I went to a meeting with David Powell, the MD of VW, and he wanted to know about the work I'd been doing with the production and the quality teams. And then he asked me this question: how do you win, you know, the hearts and minds of people? And the words greet, meet, and treat, just popped out of my head. And then I left his office and I'm going to write a book. But yes, I had to learn to type. But there's 70 pages here, you know, on your mind, your emotions, on attitude, and then adversity. So,
so
and then
do-
during lockdown, I spent the first 20 days writing a book called Surviving the Storms, the 10 Tough Time Tips. And it's actually, Michael, my brother, was the first to read it. And I thought he will never read it
Yeah.
because he doesn't like reading. And the next day he came back and he said to me, "But Ellen, this book is brilliant." I said, "You didn't read the book." He said, "I promise you, I read it in 24 minutes. I timed myself." He
Jeez.
said, "Can I send it to my friends?" And eventually it went to New Zealand, Australia, America.
All over.
And now I just keep sending it to people. It's got the 10. So I think, you know, we're all going through tough times. Eh?
Yeah.
And
But it's
so-
that thing of not giving up, you know, and that's been with people that I've interviewed on the show here as well. It's always been a thing. It's like Adrian Gardner, for instance, he failed a lot of times before he got things going, you know, and he wasn't afraid to just give it another go. Like you learn from your mistakes, you go for the next one, you know. And so I think a lot of people are there. I mean, in your case, it was almost extreme, you know, with the Oaks not having any faith in your academics, but yet you still gave it stick until you until you got where you needed to be, you know.
Well, Winston Churchill was invited to do a talk at a school one day,
Yeah.
and he walked up onto the stage and he looked at all the boys and said, "Never, ever give up." And then he went home. And that's apparently it's a true story.
Really?
And so, but I must be, you have to be very strong. So Mr. Mandela says the brain dominates the blood.
Yeah.
So what happens here affects what happens here. So mental and emotional.
Yeah.
So even the Bible says, be careful what you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts.
Yeah.
Even your golf shots are.
Yeah.
So during tough times, you've got to get your mind right. You've got to get your emotions right. And Harvard University did a study that said 85% of your success in life will come back to your attitude.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if your mind is right and your emotion and your attitude, when those tough times come, like at the moment, I've had 10 days working in a year and a half, 10 days working 1.5 years.
You're okay.
If you're not strong here, and you're still not flying with a good attitude, your altitude is going to be one way.
Yeah. So you just keep, you've got to keep that strong attitude, because it does shape what you do. The people around you, it shapes your life and your own happiness.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think her name was Nikki. She was a lawyer, and I'm going back now 28 years ago. I was invited to speak at a conference at a game farm, and I had to speak on a positive winning attitude. And when I finished, she came up and she said, my granny always said happiness is an inside job.
Yes.
Happiness is an inside job. So, unfortunately, I've just been doing life coaching. I did 21-hour sessions with a youngster who finished school last year. He's been adopted by a family in PE, and he wants to go to Stellenbosch next year. So I did 21-hour sessions with him, and it was really encouraging. And when I said to him, I said, Mshlali, if I was able to unzip your head and look inside, what percentage would be a beautiful garden, and what percentage would be a rubbish dump? Yeah. And he said about 70 garden, 30% rubble. And I think if we went around South Africa and we were able to unzip people's minds and look inside and see how much of it is a beautiful Masters golf course, beautiful garden. So I think it's a choice we make, whether we grow a beautiful garden or we sit and have a pity party and we let rubbish and rubble fill our minds. And it's difficult. It's much easier to be negative.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, work and, if you get stuck in a job that you're not enjoying, or something that have you ever been in that situation where you've been somewhere that you didn't want to be, and then you've made a change or not?
I asked that question. I remember I was at the boardwalk and I had 12 Volkswagen senior management in the room. And I spent 2 days with them, and every one of them wished that they'd done something different.
Really? Wow.
The trouble was they were all sitting with couple of motor cars, really nice packages, and it's difficult to leave them. So I definitely knew the bank wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then when I joined Volkswagen, I loved it, education and training, but then they put me into logistics as a generalist. So then I had to deal with the shop stewards and the unions, and I had to fire people. Thank goodness General Motors offered me a job to head up management and staff development. So then I went there.
In there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, what's the worst job that you've ever had?
Well, I think sitting in the bank, working in the waste department, but, I was so grateful just to have a job, but sitting there all day on this adding machine, and then I became a teller, so then I was behind the counter.
Okay.
Then they put me in this Fidelity Guard van, and I would carry these 2 big leather bags full of money and this tin, and then they would drop me off at Constantia Center.
Yeah.
It's Pier 14 now.
Yeah, that's right.
And then if you go up the escalator at Constantia Center, which was Pier 14, the bank was there. So I would spend my whole day counting change, because they were just they were all,
I'm surprised it's not dead. You go into Main Street with the 2 bags of cash.
No, then the guy had his had his water pistol there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so when I came home, my hands were black, because you were counting change, or they'll put it into a packet, and then they would give you $100. Now they want change because the pie shop there needs change.
Oh yeah.
I thought, no, the good Lord didn't put me on planet Earth to do this.
It wasn't the right thing. So quickly, there's still lots of comments coming in here. Let's see. Offered me a case of Coke if I get 1 point from him. And I never got the case since 1989.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but asking me, did he get a point?
Did you get a point? Did you get a point?
He never got a
he
point.
never got a
I
point of view.
can't believe that. Mark,
That's
he
1989.
was too talented, eh?
Barbara Manor. How's it, Barbara? Nice to see you. She's the soccer mom. I call her this.
Okay.
You're the soccer mom, Barbara. Always hear from, great to hear from old Port Elizabeth folk. Nothing has changed. Nothing's changed and everything's changed. That's true. There's
Webster,
Garth
Garth and I,
Webster.
we played under 10A rugby together, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
And
got the
I mean,
team
Garth did a
photo.
whole lot of cricket and a whole lot
Yeah.
of soccer as well. I
He was a
think.
very good soccer player as well.
Yeah. Soccer.
He's still got his special hat and his cool, comes
Listen,
to you when
he's-
he's got those cool glasses.
He's
eh?
got a cool everything.
Yeah.
Garth is your man for hectic clothes.
Peter
and stuff.
Logan, oh wow, Peter, now we grew
Okay.
up, together. We were family friends. So his dad was the
He's in
MD
Milan.
of, his dad was the MD of Ford.
Oh,
Line
wow.
Pit. And
Okay.
my mom and Nancy's mom were great friends, and his mom died a few years ago. And
Oh,
I've
man,
just been with my mother. She talks about Nancy a lot. eh?
Oh wow, Peter, amazing! So lovely to see you online.
Yeah, Peter.
And thanks for watching. He's in Milan. In Milano. You in Italy. You're making my heart warm.
He gets all over the world. eh?
Hey, I'll see that. What is he doing? What are you doing out there, Peter? What is your
Davina. Yeah, so Murray.
Davina.
Murray was at Graham College, and then when I first started on my own 30 years ago, they used to have, I think, Pro Print. They used to help me with printing, or Murray.
I always got confused Davina with other Davina from Plet, but it's not Davina from Plet. This is a Davina from Lorraine. Lorraine. I wish Mandy Glover was there tonight too. She's at home watching. Davina, stop being impatient.
I think she's crocheting. They're hooked on crocheting.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah.
Crocheting. How very lovely
Carl, eh?
Eastern Cape of you.
Good to see you, Carl.
Carl Barmster, of course, he's been on the show as well.
Well, Gary
Amazing guy.
Jorgensen, I think he's told me about 7 times now. Carl Barmester got EP colors for this sport and this
Yes,
sport and
he
this
did.
sport and this sport. And
He did.
I don't
He
think
got
I
it.
ever lost him in squash, but it was always, you had to be
Well,
on your
tough.
toes. Eh?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of sports that Carl was into there.
That's funny. Alan Stapleton and I, we both
Stapes.
used to have moustaches, and people used to mix
Yes.
the two of us up.
Yes, you're actually right. With your moustache, I saw an early picture of him and of you,
Yeah.
and you look bloody identical, man.
So one day in the changing room, somebody was talking to me like I was Alan Stapleton. Eventually, I had to tell them, no, but I don't want to be Alan Stapleton.
You should have made up a story.
Because
I'm
I could never
divorced.
keep up with all the beers. I could never keep up with all those beers.
I'm divorced and I've got a terrible drinking problem. But the drinking problem would be true, but the divorce wouldn't.
Clive Bosman,
Clive Bosman says, "Who's congratulations with everything. It was great knowing you and playing squash with UPE.
yeah.
Clive Bosman from Adelaide in South Australia. Wow, he must be
amazing.
late there.
Well, here's a story for you that Clive will remember the story because
Yeah.
when I was in my matric year, I grew my hair. Cream, you could grow your hair. And then I just started to play squash. I went to the EP squash trials in Grahamstown. And I definitely played well enough to be in the team. I think there were 6 players in the team, and I think I finished up 3rd, but they left me out the side.
Oh,
And I could never work out why. And there was, I'm not going to mention the name, but there was a headmaster at Muir. He was not happy with the length of my hair. So I got left out of the EP school squash team because my hair was too long.
yeah, very good. Well, especially
I only
from you.
discovered that years
Hey,
later.
look, the Hague was quite conservative. You know what I mean?
No, and this guy, yes, he was an EP squash selector, and he became a headmaster eventually. Yeah.
Ons soek hier daai mense wat daar in die lang hare wat daar ontkom. There we go. Ivan Rolf as well says, "How's it, man? Ivan, nice to see you."
Great.
And I see a little picture there with Gracie.
Bruce.
Bruce Heron says, "Awesome to see you guys and listen to your thoughts. I have fond memories of squash achievements and life achievements. Also starting the waste
He
management.
was-
Also starting the
wow.
waste. Oh, you got
Good
his
for you.
Barclays job.
Did I get his job?
Oh, he
Okay.
got your Barclays job. Look at that.
I was getting 275 a month, so you can see he's definitely older than me. 176 per month.
Bruce, he
Yeah.
was getting 275 a month, and you got
And
176.
he said he was never short of money. Eh?
It's funny.
There's a man, Bruce, who's got that,
Oh, we
that
got
eight-o vermoë,
Eight-o vermoë, is it?
stickability,
There's it. Okay.
never give up.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Mike Palfreman, how's it, Mike? Nice to see you as well. At 269 in 1 week.
No, I've never done that again. That was like a bit freaky. So yeah.
Oh, no, we're going into territory that we don't want to go into there, Mike. Nathan Jacobs, Alan is still trying to teach me.
Oh, we played squash today. Yeah.
Oh,
He's built like a sevens rugby player.
really?
And I'll never forget
Super
about
fast.
just before lockdown, I arrive at Old Grey, and I don't know this oak, you see.
Yeah.
So he looks me up and down with my grey hair. And anyway, 20 minutes later, it was all over. 3-love to me, you see. So anyway, he comes up to me and says, yeah, that was embarrassing. Can you help me, you see? So I said, of course I can. I love coaching. So anyway, we started to play together. But Nathan, I mean, his racket is not open. It's slightly closed. So I tried to improved a bit. But so one day we were playing squash. I said, just stay there. And I went to my bag and I got the bigger ball out. And with our squash rackets, we played with the bigger ball.
Okay.
He sold his squash rackets that afternoon. He's never played squash again, and he plays racquetball now.
Oh, lovely.
He's improved a lot. But
So no Stapes was involved with the racquetball as well.
no, no. Look, I mean, last night at Lawn Park, there's about 100 players, 10 teams. Each one we sponsored by Party Stuff.
Oh, okay. What is party stuff? Is it?
If you're having a party, you know,
Oh,
it's like
oh,
a
like-
children's party.
Okay.
And I think her name is Janine. Janine was there with the pom-poms and
No
cheering us
way.
on. And so we sponsored by Party Stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Not Party Stuff.
Yes,
No,
yeah, Party
no,
Stuff.
not
Party Stuff, not
No,
Party Stuff.
Party Stuff. And so, yeah, you must see the vibe at Lawn Park. There's 100 players there, and they're from, they're all the way down to some of them that are very little talent,
Yeah.
but they love it. But they
So
love
wait,
it.
Taking a break from Phuket, working our way down to Puglia and then to Cyprus. Oh, very nice. Go to Cyprus, safe with the Greeks.
So,
You must come visit. Yes, I would love to.
So Peter and I, we were at Cram College together, and we went home one break time, and he had a Cortina Big Six because his father worked at Ford.
Yes.
And we sat in the lounge watching the TV, and there was only that test pattern.
Yes.
And we were so intrigued. Then all of a sudden, some TV came on. It was like
Clock.
Haastas and Discussion. Or it was Biltong and Pot Roast.
Yes,
Just
yes.
we thought,
Yeah,
now we've
this is
arrived
the
and we've got
thing,
TV.
Oh, my so Peter. Well, lovely to see what you're doing there, man. That's great. That sounds like fun. Sean Pauls, remember Alan from Sunday school? That's exactly where
Goodness
St.
me,
John's
yeah.
Methodist in Havelock Street.
30 years I taught Sunday school. So even Mark
At St.
Wiseman, all
John's.
of them, confirmation, Sunday school.
Mark was at Walmart, I think.
There's a good man from East London.
Gordon Daniel. Islamis.
Also lovely, talented squash player, just a real gentleman.
Oh, lovely.
Nice
He
to
says,
see you
time
again,
for a
Gordy.
catch-up call, he says.
Yeah, we haven't chatted since before lockdown. You know, difficult. You've got to make an appointment to see your wife nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah,
like this.
I
You
know.
can't fit everybody in.
I know. and you're moaning about not getting enough work. I think you're having a good time as it is. You don't need work.
My bank manager won't agree with
Oh, my soul. Oh, man, what is that? Brylan.
Yeah, you know, that's been a
tell
15-year. It's been a 15-year dream of mine. I don't know where that actually came from, but I was walking the Gary Player golf course at Langebaan, you know, up the west coast, and it was pumping like tomorrow it's going to be blowing at about 70 k's an hour. And I'm playing golf with Gary Torgensen.
Okay, all right.
And I was walking on the golf course by myself, and I just got this idea that I wish when I finished school, you know, I could have taken a year to learn all the stuff I've taken 40 years to learn,
Yes.
and then play your sport, do adventures with my boot on the motorbikes, community projects. But in the morning, you're going to come learn all the stuff about personal mastery, relationship building, business excellence. So that's been a 15-year
So
dream. It hasn't come true yet, but I'm sort of,
Yeah. There's a go.
I'm
The founder's
sort of-
message. You got a little. It's a little booklet there that Gary's
Yeah.
found. I see.
yeah.
Manage
So-
your mind, master your emotions. Excellent communicator.
So the way I teach that, when I ask people, you know, what are the 10 pillars of self-management? People, they're not quite sure. So I make everybody stand. And I said, okay, you're ready now. Just get warm and say after me. Okay, you can do this now.
Okay, yeah.
Say after me, say, I must manage my mind.
Manage my mind,
I must master my emotions.
master my
And I
emotions.
must be an excellent communicator.
Excellent communicator.
So then I say to people, okay, give me the first two. Okay, manage my mind, master my
emotions.
communicator. What is the short word for a policeman?
Cop.
Okay, take cop and turn him around. What do you have?
Pok.
Plan, organize, control. So this copper's got a plan of the city now. He's organizing his samis and his thermos flask of coffee.
Yeah.
And then he's controlling his motorbike through the traffic.
Yeah.
So now we have manage your mind, master your emotions, excellent communicator, plan, organize, control. Number 7,
Watch.
time management.
Oh, okay.
So time management. Then true story, Kingswood, 15 years old. I had a stress fracture on this arm from rugby. Stress fracture. You have to deal with the stress, eh?
Yeah, okay.
So time, stress, and then I've got my hemis causing problem solving.
Okay.
And then you put out your wings, your attitude determines your altitude.
Oh, my
So
word.
then I say to
Okay.
people, okay, what are those 10? And they go, well, it's your mind, your emotions, communicate, plan, organize, control, time, stress, problem, and attitude. And so then,
Very-
and then relationship building is obviously they're the big
Yes,
five.
yes. Okay.
still talking to Gary about knowing self and others, that elephant there.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so you told me when I arrived, Ellen, the purpose of this is for people just to get to know a bit
Yeah,
more
absolutely,
about Ellen and
about,
for us to get to know each other better.
For sure. And so,
And
so
there's
this
the
is how
Greek
you
meet
use
and
it.
feed.
As a Greek meet
So
and
that's what
feed
I want to
as well.
teach young people who are not quite sure what they want to do after school. And apparently there are a lot of them, I'm told, but I'm a one-man business. I've got to do marketing, sales. I just can't do everything.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember the guys at school, the what do you call it, the counselors, trying to work out what I was going to do. I think I came out of that one test saying that I should be an accountant. It's just so far from what I really wanted to do, because I was in your mind, you play those tests.
But you are quite a number, though.
Yeah. You know, what a number.
I mean, this jacket here, yo.
Oh no, this is a special jacket. I thought with your
Tell me, where did you get
your
that
talks
jacket
that you did? It's tails, got nice tails in it. I think it was a Timu special. Like, Gary ordered it. I think Gary saw it and he ordered it
Timu
immediately.
special.
It's a great jacket, I've got to say.
So it reminds me of that Greatest Show on Earth. That's a movie.
Yeah, it's like The Greatest Show.
So we could be an actor in that.
It could be a ringmaster.
A ringmaster, exactly. A ringmaster.
But, okay, so where were we? You were at Sandberg. You went to the army. Came out. Where did you go? You went at GM.
No. So I taught at grade junior for 6 years.
Okay. Straight out of the army.
I taught 9 and 10-year-olds. No. So after the army, I went back to the bank for 2 years.
Oh yeah, okay.
Standard Bank, and then I thought this is not for me. Then I applied to go to varsity. I was rejected. Dr. Jardine got me in the back door. Did my 4-year degree, and then 6 years.
And did you do okay there?
You know, I struggled my first year.
Also, it's academic. So
I got better and better. So if you had told me that after failing twice, I would study for 9 years, I would have said, no, it's impossible. But I've studied for 9 years.
Wow.
So I did the 4-year degree, but I still remember in my 3rd year, I went to the post box and there was a UPE, the UPE in the envelope, and I thought, gee, I haven't paid my fees, maybe. And I opened it up and it was a check for 3 distinctions. It was 132 Rand. 100, but it was for 3 distinctions. I'm telling you, that was better than any golf or squash trophy I've ever won.
It's fantastic. Imagine. Yeah.
So then my brother Hugh said to me one day, why don't you go to Rhodes and do your honours part-time? I said, no, yes, I've pushed my luck. I've already pushed my luck enough. But I did. I used to go with Peter Hollerley and, and Howard Robinson and Rob Rolls, and we would drive up to Grahamstown for 2 years.
Howard Robertson or Robinson?
The one who owns the spa?
Yes, Robertson. Howard Robertson. He taught me.
Yeah.
So he was a EP rugby.
That's the guy. So we all went in, and after 2 years, I managed to get my honours. And then when I went to Volkswagen and GM, then I studied for another 3 years. I did human resources. Yeah.
I've got a funny. I always tell Howard Robertson, he was our rugby coach.
Yeah.
At the time, because he was our first rugby
player. Was it at Alex now?
No, VP. I was at VP.
You were VP, sorry.
And I'll never forget the one time, because we were all sitting there on the grass and he was giving us this motivational thing. He was saying, and it was a time when it was Carl Lewis and Ben, what was his name? Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, and all those sprinters,
the sprinters, yeah.
And he said, who won the Olympics this year? It was Carl Lewis. He said, who won the Olympics this year? And I said, somebody says, Carl Lewis, exactly. And who came second? And I said, Ben Johnson. He says, no, nobody remembers who came second. I think it was Ben Johnson. He said, did he? So I don't know. Well, no, nobody remembers.
Did you ever go to the Boet Erasmus Stadium?
I did go to the Boet Erasmus.
The Boet Erasmus.
I'll never forget
my father used to have a season ticket. He got his cushion there.
Yo.
And I'll never forget on Howard Robertson one day from the kickoff. He happened to just they kicked off and Howard caught the ball.
Yeah.
And he was going so fast, I thought he was now part of the big 5. He was like a rhino boy. And I tell you, 3 Oaks bounced off him and he made it all the way past the 25.
No way.
I'll never forget that. It was just like quite spectacular,
Yeah,
to see a rhino going at full speed.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, he still gives. I know somebody can tag Howard. He takes his dogs for a walk in the valley all the time. He must stay around about 9th Avenue. But yeah, good days. But Boet Erasmus Stadium was amazing. There's a story that the Jepson twins, Jepsons, They're all grey boys. And
I know there was Barry Jepson and there was I used to play squash with them at Old Grey, but they're older than me.
Yeah,
Older
okay,
than me.
no. It might be the sons.
Okay, could be the
Wayne
sons,
and
yeah.
Wayne and Greg. So they bunked school and they went to watch rugby, and they ended up getting onto the poles and sitting on top of the poles. And there was an amazing game. It was like this, such a close game and everything. The next day, they were front page of the Herald, sitting on the pole. Their dad's like, "What are you guys doing?" They were
Eight for
totally
fun.
bust.
8 for fun.
Bust, completely bust. The two Jepsons are little buggers. I see Clive Bosman there saying, one of my biggest challenges is was one year marking umpiring UPE finals between yourself and the late Keith Crankshaw. I know that name as well, Keith Crankshaw.
Keith, there was a guy that was incredibly talented, old Keith, but
Yeah.
when he was under massive pressure, he just didn't quite perform, at the
Yeah.
same level.
Yeah.
Some people just don't like that.
The big point, I'm terrible with
yeah.
it. I'm absolutely terrible. You give me a big point, I'm
He
going to lose it.
He won't mention the Myriad Masters name at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, my word. Well, I know because it was Mike from Mark I saw the other day. He was at
There's old Derek Williams. Derek, we were in the
yeah.
sort of education. He was more in plant training, Derek,
good old VW day. I hope you
Yeah.
weren't one of the ones that didn't enjoy his job, Derek. Gordon Daniel. So Alan, my good
I
friend.
promise you, I've still got your number in my phone now. I'll connect with you.
Excellent.
We can
Oh,
catch
it's
up,
lovely.
yeah.
It's lovely.
Catch up.
And what about so then teaching then at Grey? Did you enjoy your teaching time?
I loved it, but the problem was, I taught standard 2. So
Yeah.
every night I'd take home 100 books and then you have to mark them and you miss one night. And now it's 200 books the next night. And so you have league squash. And I was I was very committed.
Yes.
So I just could not take that marking because, if you teach the bigger kids, you don't have to mark everything.
Yeah,
but I should rewrite out,
Kids,
send the corrections.
yes,
And
of course, with your calligraphy.
so the one mother did come to me when she said, "This report, is it done on a computer?" So I said, "No, I did it with this pen." She wouldn't believe me.
Really?
But I just, who said the Afrikaanse mense bietjie stagneer?
Yeah. Okay.
I just felt like I
Stagnated.
wasn't growing.
Okay.
And then when I did leave, they were up in arms. I mean,
really?
poor Louis van Wyk was at Volkswagen, and he got into such trouble from the
Louis.
parents at Grey
Oh wow.
for offering me a job at
Oh,
VW.
so
But
you
I
got
just
in
knew
there.
that I had to leave to grow. And I mean,
Louis van Wyk also at GM, or was it Delta?
no,
I'm sure
Louis
was.
van Wyk was in the marketing division. He
Okay.
was also a nice squash player. He was, and then he was the head of Maritime Motors. So when they moved to William Moffat, I did good to great workshops for him when they moved
Louis.
the dealership there.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
he's
just talking
retired.
about Arthur Mutlow as well. He was also
Arthur,
he's
yeah.
also at Maritime Motors as
That's
well.
right. So he read my book and sent me this long email about South Africa needs your book. Well, I'm still waiting to
lovely.
hear. I haven't got a phone call from Zuma yet, but
Oh well, you never know. You can you never know when it's going to happen. But that's amazing. So I like the way that you. I wouldn't say that, like you're quite an honest person. You don't. There's no. I think your heart's on your sleeve when you talk.
my wife says sometimes I'm too honest.
Yes. But you know exactly where you stand.
Look, and I remember when I joined Delta Motor Company, my boss said to me, "I'm a very sensitive guy and I'm a very soft guy.
Yeah.
But if something has to be said, I'll try and say it in a respectful way."
Yes,
But my boss said, "Alan's going to get you into trouble."
because you're too honest.
Yeah, but
You think?
yeah, it's just
But I love that in people because you might get yourself into crap every now and then, but at least we know exactly where you are and what you do. There's no hidden agenda. I think.
I am careful. So, it's funny, just today, I got an email from Zambia from Emmanuel, who was with me last year, about 14 months ago. A whole group of 16 safety officers and
Yeah.
IT guys came on a course with me in Zambia on the Kansanshi Mine. Alan, can't you start offering webinars?
Oh, yeah.
I said, webinars? Is that
Like
when
this?
you've got yeah. So anyway, we set, my daughter and I have drawn up there's 21 different topics, and
Yeah.
each one's only 1 hour long, and I've sent it to him because he wants to tell his boss, we want to do a webinar with Ellen, but he can't
Excellent.
come here anymore
Yes.
because of the
Yeah,
time and
but,
the cost and the
no,
distance.
you can do it online.
So
Absolutely, Al.
So now we're thinking about this webinar
No,
story.
you're talking about not having work. You could totally do that from. I mean, there's so many people doing it now.
I just love to be in the room with the people because
Of
I'm
course.
right there and I say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the ones together. One's okay, you in that corner, you there. And then I walk around and I sit and I listen.
Does the whole technology thing worry you?
I just think it's because, if I do a webinar, I'm going to be standing up in front of people, but they can see me, but I can't see them.
Yeah.
So the group dynamics, so when I go to Zambia, the 5-day journey is presenting, facilitating, and coaching. So to be a great presenter, you have to be confident, enthusiastic, and captivating. And there's 10 skills. To facilitate, you've got to listen, question, encourage, and then to coach. So what I'm trying to say is that's why I never wanted to get into motivational speaking, because too many of these speakers, there's one way. So even when I go and I'm asked to do a motivational talk, now I've got the people standing up and now, well, you saw me at the
it
East
was
London
great. We love
with
it.
all those teachers. So I'm not a big fan, even doing all this talking now, I'm not so comfortable. I understand that you said, Alan, you're telling your story, but
absolutely.
but if there's not 50-50 shared conversation, then there's a problem.
Yeah, it's nice to have the comments coming up. I see there's some more here. Enjoying a chat, bring back all your BW days. Also, Willie van Wyk was ex-Delta. That was the one.
And Willie Wyk, so it's Louis van Wyk. So Louis van Wyk was the MD of Maritime. Willie van Wyk was the MD of Delta. Delta
Yes,
Motor
so it was the wrong Van Wyk. All right, you're absolutely right, Garth. And Gordon Daniel,
We've seen that one,
yeah. So, catch up call. Yeah. And that's the Muir headmaster. He's Clive. Where's Clive? I think he's.
He was at Muir, very good sportsman, good rugby player, good cricketer, nice squash player. And I think over lockdown we connected somehow. We connected. I'm not quite sure, but I knew that he was in Australia.
Yeah. Has the sport helped you with connections with that community? What do you think for work and stuff?
Sure. Well, that's quite an interesting question because often people say join the golf club and then you can, if you're an insurance guy you get business, but my job is very different. To find work, I don't consider myself a salesperson.
Yeah.
Although I run a program called Selling Yourself, and there's appearance, confidence, enthusiasm, but it's knocking on that door and trying to get your foot in the door and trying to close a deal. I struggle with that because I'm a little bit soft and I'm not thick-skinned enough. I don't want to worry people.
Yeah.
But I've been looked after. I mean, yes, but in 30 years of consulting, I was told that I won't last a year. And on the 1st of May, it's 30 years. So I was told by the bank manager.
30 years ago. So when did that?
I didn't have a motor car. I didn't have a motor car. I didn't have a customer.
Where were you working before
I was
that?
at Delta Motor Company.
Okay, so Delta.
There was a reason I left. I won't go into that.
Okay. You see the filter. You can use that filter now. Alan. We'll go to that. But so you left Delta and decided.
And then my father passed away in '99, but he wasn't happy with me because he was the MD of a big company for 20 years. You start in the company and then you get your salary every
that's
month.
The way to go.
So for 30 years, I've not had a salary. I've lived by faith.
Yeah.
So
welcome to
you
my
also
world.
you also similar. So no work, no pay.
You just never know what the hell's going to fall out the sky.
And then the Zambia work was amazing. I worked with a guy at VW, and I got a phone call from Zambia to say, "I'm in Zambia. I need you here. Are you prepared to come?" I said, "I'll go anywhere."
Yes.
I'm telling you, I was there from 2017 until about 14 months ago.
Incredible.
And then this mine closed, their Panama mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Panama, one of their mines closed because of environmental issues and that hurt the whole group. So then they freeze all the
Yes, they stopped doing
the consulting stuff. But it was incredible. The Zambian people are wonderful people.
Okay. Yeah.
And they roll out the red carpet and they think you're the best thing since sliced cheese. No,
Oh, that's nice. It's nice.
very special. I mean,
hospitality is good.
After lockdown, I had to get to Madagascar. So I had to, their government was fighting with our government over some gold that was found on some guy.
Oh, crikey.
So there was a lot of tension between the Madagascar government and our government. So I had to fly from P to Joburg to Addis Ababa to Tenerife on a small Russian, Czechoslovakian plane onto the top of the mountain where the mine was. Jeez. And then I had to fly from there down to the coast to where the plant was. I mean, it's 5 aeroplanes just to get there. And you must see the luggage I carry. I mean, it's just like it's mind-boggling.
You've got all your stuff.
All the course material.
Oh, my soul.
So you're 69. I'm surprised I'm not in a box, I'm surprised I'm still above ground,
I see. Gary's got something else there. Why team building? So that's what you got a team building thing as well.
You know what often happens is I got a phone call, I got an email the other day about me looking for a team building. And I think I mentioned to you there's the three scenarios. There's the booze cruise, there's the adrenaline rush, there's the Alan Glover head and heart stuff, and then there's a lecture. So when I ask people, but why do you want a team building? They're not always quite sure. So I just put that page in front of them and I said, well, is there a new manager, or is it a question of to clarify roles and responsibilities, or the relationships are not healthy? Have you got a new strategy or new project that you're working on? So I try and find out, why do you actually want a team building? And most times it's just to have fun.
Yeah.
But then I'm not into that stuff only. Yeah, we can have fun, but we also...
so you need to have a message.
There was a company in P that manufactures wine. I'm not going to mention the name, but the maintenance guys and the production guys, it was World War III.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
No, it was serious, and I was called in there, and I took them away for the day, and I showed them my Greek meet and treat book, and I showed them the video that Alison made.
Yes.
Good, better, best. He made a video for me. We put pictures in, and at the end of the day, all of them signed this huge, big document to say that as from tomorrow, we're going to change the way we greet, meet, and treat one another. And you cannot believe that they were so aware of that this greet, meet, and treat, and they knew the song, and they loved the song that they heard. And even that made a difference. So so working with teams is I think it's more challenging. So at Continental Tire, I used to work with the logistics and then the sales and the marketing guys, and often they had to work together as a big team.
Yes.
And, the politics in companies, it's like
always politics. I mean, I've never worked. I've worked in corporates. I've had tastes of it along my life as well. But there's always politics going on. And I see the Dean Murray saying, "How's it there?" And
bless him. I took him a copy of my book yesterday.
Oh, excellent, man! And I see Dylan Germeshuis there as well, also saying, "How's it, Alan? Good to see you."
Oh, well, yeah, that guy can play golf.
Really?
He's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, wow. I've just joined a club. I've just joined Little Warmer.
Have you joined this the other day where we met?
Yeah, because I said to myself, I've snuck on the seventh hole there enough times as a youngster. That I feel like I owe them some
payback time.
I feel like I owe them some club fees.
No, we must go and have 9 holes one day.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. I think so. I think it sounds like you got some good advice for me with my golf.
Well, I wrote a book on golf actually, but I wrote it around the 10 personal mastery pillars. So Volkswagen asked me to develop a course. So it's find your calling and your purpose, unlock your potential, polish your gift, focus on your performance, get great results, coach and grow others, always give it your best shot, never give up, raise the bar. Okay, so, and then I took the golf book and I wrote the golf book around those 10 personal, and I gave a copy to Dale Hayes.
Yeah, okay.
And I gave a hard copy when he was at the P Golf Club talk, and he sent me the beautiful email to say, yes, but this is just so different, this book. It's not about the grip and the stance, it's about all that other stuff, talent, time, tactics, temperament, toughness.
It's all about the mind game, isn't it, a lot of the time?
Well, my first interprovincial golf tournament in Pretoria, Keith Simpson, Keith Simpson, yes. Keith said to me, 90% of golf is between the ears and the other 10% is between the ears.
All of it.
So there's no doubt that golf is kind of a sport where you're...
What's your advice for a good drive?
Well, everybody's different, So, I mean, if I hold up a ruler here, this is, are you allowed to say Bliksem?
Bliksem.
So you want to, I won't say the M word. Okay.
No, you can say mood.
So this is when you want to smash the cover off the ball. And this is when you want to baby the ball. Now, both of those are wrong.
The left hand.
My trouble sometimes I'm a bit quick, and sometimes you've got to find a midpoint, and everybody's midpoint is different. That they call it the tempo, effortless power.
Oh, yes.
Effortless power. So I never forget, my father-in-law was an attorney at Rushman Oak and Partners. Alan, we're short tomorrow. Are you available? I said, Dad, I'm really struggling with my back. I don't think I'll make it. Well, just come and see how you go, So I almost played with my feet together, and I swung quietly.
Yeah.
And I chipped and putted well, and I shot 34. I had a gross 68 with a sore back. But the thing was that I wasn't able to hit the ball hard. So I had a lovely tempo going. I didn't miss the fairway. I putted and chipped nicely.
So it's holding back. It's just,
no, you've got to be careful. No, it's hitting the ball with confidence. You see, you've got a left and a right brain. So your left brain is your logical brain. Logical. So you prepare with your left brain.
Okay.
So how do you think you do that?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of saying in my left brain.
So your left brain is your logical brain. So you look at the distance, the club I'm going to hit, the water, the bunkers, the wind. So, but the minute you get over the ball now, you've got to jump into your right brain. So your right brain is your creative brain. And there's only 3 ways you can do that. So my mother's 94 years old. I was with her just now.
Yeah.
I hope you're watching, Mom. Her father taught her.
Yeah.
La, da, 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 dum,
Dum,
dum, dum, dum. So it's
Oh,
music.
wow. Okay.
So
I'm going
that-
to try that.
You see, if you're over the ball and you're still in your left brain,
Yeah.
you've got no chance. Because now you're thinking about where's my bum, where's my elbow, where's this, where's that, where's the club head.
Yeah.
So it's either music. So what I often do if I'm struggling, I take my practice swing,
Yeah.
I go to the ball and I try and feel that same swing.
Okay.
So I don't think I know that practice swing will work and then I try and feel it. Or the other one is visualization, where you picture yourself, hitting the ball, landing on the green.
Oh, you
So I
reckon that
think-
will work as well? I don't know.
Well, look,
I'll
if your
picture that.
I think if your grip is wrong and your stance is wrong and
Okay.
you're too far from the ball,
You need to get those
once you've
things
got
right.
those right,
Okay.
then when you hit the ball, try and get into your right brain through music. There's a chap called Stan Levy. He used to live in he lived in Cape Road, and he's no longer with us, but he would drive a little kariki there and his golf clubs on the back, and when he came to chip, he couldn't chip.
Oh, showman.
So he said to me, Ellen, I think I'm going to give up golf.
Oh,
So I said, just hang on. I said, all I want you to do now, get ready. Now I want you just to say, stop, swing, stop, swing. He looked at me as I was smoking something. Anyway, he got over the ball. I said, now I want you just to say, stop, swing. And I promise you, hit that ball into the middle of the green.
Wow.
Because he got into his right
Yeah, in
brain.
his right brain.
But if you're standing there thinking, don't fluff it, don't miss it, don't chip it, don't eat it fat.
I mean, I'm a drummer. I should be able to get into my right brain. Maybe I must just play some drums.
Well, you've got great hands on the drums, but I'm unfortunately, I think golf's maybe
a little bit more.
I think the drumsticks come in from here. That golf club's coming from here now. It must come all the way
all
back
the
and
way
meet
around.
that.
Gee, was it hectic. What's this? Quality people, quality systems, quality teams, quality service.
Okay, no,
Some more, some more.
that was just so. I talk about Q transformation. So, so I've changed that. This is very old. This.
Oh,
So
okay.
I talk about quality people and then quality relationships and quality teamwork. So now
Okay,
I focus more on those. So I have a 3-day program where I did it for Coca-Cola. We spend one day. What does it mean to be a quality person? So commitment and motivation is passion. Knowledge and skills is empowerment, and mindset, attitude, values is character.
Okay.
So unfortunately, if you want to be a quality person, commitment and you need the passion, commitment and motive. You need to have knowledge and skills, but mindset, attitude, and values is character. And unfortunately, even if you look at our country,
How much has this got in his head, stuck in there?
so the first thing
really-
you're going to look at, if you want, even in rugby, I asked my mom yesterday, why does a rugby team exist? And she says team spirit.
Yeah.
I said, Mom, a rugby team exists to put more points on the scoreboard than the other team.
Yeah.
If you think of it, that's why that coach just wants to make sure at the end of the match they've got
They're
more
more.
points than the other guy. But I said, Mom, it's true that you need to have a great team spirit. You need to have good communication.
In order to
Everybody
make that-
must know their roles and their responsibilities.
Yeah.
So, and the quality relationships, that's about the big 5. The lion is trust and the leopard is respect. So I teach people a memory technique.
Yes. I noticed that you like those memory techniques.
Well,
Go
at
to that.
school, I studied for 9 years without memory techniques. And then 30 years ago, I bought into a franchise to teach memory training. And then I was a bit disillusioned. I paid a lot of money, but there was just something not right. So then I went and broke away and I did mind and memory training. I included mind training and memory training.
Okay. Okay. I see there, Charles had another one there. How often do you do sports massages? My back hurts now and then. How do you keep a healthy body as long as you can? I mean, you're 69, you say.
Yeah, well, luckily, and look,
Look, you're looking damn good. for
no, well,
69.
I managed to lose. Look, I love my food and I love sweet stuff, but somehow I've managed to lose 8 kgs this year.
Wow.
Lockdown, I was 120, so I've lost 8. But it's
Okay.
incredible, just losing. When I played in World Masters, I think I lost 12 kilos before I went to World Masters in Joburg, and it's incredible, just losing a bit of weight. I mean, you look like you're an athlete. I mean,
No, it's just doing
Ben
my
Johnson,
job,
Ben Johnson, yeah. Yeah.
And so, what about his back? How do you look after yourself, sports wise? Do you do any running or any?
Well, I mean, when I was playing squash I used to train very hard. I mean, I would go to the Pearson field and run 400 till I couldn't
Really?
stand anymore.
So you did running?
Well, I did a lot of work. No, I hated weights, but I did a lot of work on the squash court.
Okay.
So I would put down all the squash balls and the sweatlets, and then we called it ghosting, where you were running and you had nobody with you.
Yeah.
I even went last week and I stood at the back and I played a shot to the front and I ran to the front and I dropped and I just ran around the court. So
So you're still playing regularly, though.
I play about 4 times a week, but I play racquetball now. I play with the
the
bigger
big
ball.
ball.
It's squash 57. They call it racquetball, but it's squash 57.
It's like the e-bike version of cycling.
I never thought of that. Yeah, it is.
I suppose.
But it's a wonderful game.
Dennis Karanji's, Gino's, you're not going to get it.
Goodness me,
I know, I try. Every now and again, I get one in here. Dennis.
Dennis, we lived across the road from each other. My daughter now lives across the road,
You're a great motivator. This is Elton Morrison. How's it, Elton? Nice to see you. Yes.
Elton, his kids are doing nicely in squash.
Oh, nice. So there's a lot of squash people on board tonight here as well. Fantastic. And so these days it's a bit of squash, it's a bit of golf. Still doing your sport regularly, and does it keep you?
I would say golf. Look, I really enjoy my golf. I mean, my brother Hugh, he says it takes too long. So I mean, when I went to like Madagascar, I was there for 27 days. I never touched a golf club, and then I was going to Zambia. But with the work being so scarce at the moment, I play golf 3 times a week.
Fantastic.
But
you can't complain about that. You know,
no, I do. I'm a bit frustrated because I just feel like I forget that I'm 69 now on the 4th of June. So you think you're still going to play as well as you do when you're 22, but you think, why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you? But I don't know what it is.
No, you got your body tells you.
I've just gone from a 2 to a 3 handicap, but now I get an extra shot. So it's the first time in like 10 years I get a shot at the 7th hole now. It's a stroke 3. You know how the strokes work. Degree of difficulty.
I'm good. Like I've got strokes on all of the bloody holes, man. Every single one.
No, but I'm really enjoying racquetball, and I think that's what's probably helped me to stay reasonably fit and not
it also helps your mind too. The sport.
Unbelievable. Well, apparently, when you exercise, that your body secretes endorphins, and that makes you feel good about yourself. Yeah,
for sure. It's all good.
Yeah.
But Alan, fantastic, man. I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention. Any other books that you've got that you want to anything on here? Yeah, you did give me a couple of these things.
My mother always asked me, Alan, what do you do again? So I just mentioned there, it's organizational, team and personal development, but I'm having to try and reinvent myself because 30 years ago, it was quite easy to find work. Now it's become very difficult to find work because there's a time factor, there's a cost factor, and there's other factors as well, once again, which are rather sensitive.
Yeah.
So my brother keeps saying to me, offer shorter, high impact, 1 hour sessions.
Short attention.
I read the other day, I was quite shocked that I'm not going to mention the names, but there's a sporting commentator, he charges 40K for a 30 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a very famous swimmer.
Yeah.
Who got some gold medals. He charges 185 for a 30-minute session, 185,000. And the other friend who's the captain of the Springbok, 250,000 rand. So I only charge half that, so I'm struggling.
Yeah, no, also I'm a little bit less than the rugby player. Right?
I've always hated the money. I've always hated the money issue. It's just like it's very.
You need it to survive. Yeah.
But I was phoned by and asked if I could do a 2-day workshop for the National Tertiary Retirement Fund. Mm-hmm. And when I was online, the lady said to me, but your price is half the price of the Joburg guys. I said, because I want to sleep at night.
Oh, Alan, but thank you. But it's been fantastic to chat to you tonight. I think, and we've had a lovely audience here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thanks, thanks, Gino.
And I love the fact that you just throughout your life, the one thing that I see is that you just never give up. It's like it doesn't matter who tells you what. It's only what's in your own head that matters. Yeah. And what you can do this. You can get it right if you need to. And you don't listen to anybody who's going to tell you otherwise.
It's quite interesting. So I wasn't quite sure when I got a phone call from Zambia about these webinars. What do you call them? So I called them winning webinars. But underneath it says quitters never win and winners never quit. And that's actually it's on the new brochure. But
Yeah.
I must be honest, there are times when I feel like throwing the towel in, but it just, something won't let me do that.
That attitude, it's those Glover genes.
No, and I mean, some miracles, I've got a very strong faith. And I mean, it's difficult to know. People say, but can you prove that God has helped you? No, I can't, but there's some very funny things that have happened in my life, you know. And so I think believing, although, faith is believing in somebody you can't really see, but somehow you know that you're not alone and that you're looked after.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to finish here, I'll finish with this amazing story. It was about my father was still alive, 1998, and I was going through a very bad time. I'd been on my own for 3 years, but the business just worked right up.
Okay.
Prayed in the morning. Went to the bank manager on my knees, and then I went to visit my father. He was in his dressing gown, and my father was very strict. You don't give your kids money; they must make their own money. Okay. And then he looked at me and he said to me, "I want to pay off your bond." Wow. And I just burst into tears.
Wow.
And when I said to him, "No, I'm fine. I don't need any money," he said, "Well, God is really, really strong." But he said, "God has kept me awake for 3 nights and told me to pay off your bond." And he handed me a check for 127,000 rand.
Wow.
98. That was, but that's not. I mean, that has happened quite often to me. Or when I've been felt led to give somebody money which I don't have, and then that afternoon I get a phone call and I get 4 times more money than I've just given away.
Okay.
So that's
and
I could be dead tomorrow. So why am I worried about something when I might not even be here tomorrow? So just enjoy each day.
You're absolutely right. We've got to. That's always a factor. You've got to enjoy each day. Jenny Honspad. She is our. Jenny's had such a hard time with the. I'm sure with having to move her venue for the Volksfeest. She does the Volksfeest every year. And always a gentleman, worked together years ago as an insurance broker. Wow, Jenny, is that right?
Ah, Jenny.
Jenny does amazing things with the Volksfeest. She organizes that entire thing. I can't even begin to understand how much she has to do.
That's a big task.
And now she's had to move the venue. Jenny, please post it over here. I don't know where the venue is now. I think it's a farm or something. One of the farmers has given by the land or something. And I see Mike Boffelman there saying, refreshing, kept your mind young. You absolutely, you're still sharp as a button. I can't believe he remembers all this stuff.
But I just love, it's funny, I love the kids. Even when I go to squash, I've always loved, chatting to the kids. And I suppose although I'm 69, I still feel that I'm young at heart, if that makes sense.
Yes,
my body doesn't tell me that, but my mind does.
For sure. But thank you so much for coming.
It's been so nice to, reconnect with you in East London, then at the Warmer Golf Course chatting, and hope we can do something more together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. And thank you to our sponsors, to Fitch and Leeds, and thank you to Amobia, and thank you to Fat Cats for our lovely food. We're going to partake of it now as we leave. And thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Next week, I have Ricolette is coming in next week. She's a psychologist and a musician all in one. All in all, and so we're going to speak to her as well. She's fantastic fun, and maybe we can work out what's happening in our minds. We'll try and examine a bit of psychology next week. Excellent.
All of you go well. Bless you.
Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next week, Tuesday.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Gino's spot.
Gino spot.
Get to Gino's spot.